HRN listeners. As we celebrate our 15th year, we are deepening our commitment to giving voice to the next generation of food systems storytellers, and we need your help. Our internship and fellowship programs help activate new possibilities for underrepresented and underestimated young people through experiential journalism, audio engineering, and production training. Through these unique programs, HRN helps food equity stewards build essential workforce readiness skills that expand their potential and foster economic mobility. Please consider supporting these critical programs. And with a minimum donation, you can be entered to win a dinner for two at an amazing restaurant in one of 8 cities and tickets to a concert at a great venue in one of those cities. We have incredible partners across the country who have donated, as they also share our passion for helping to educate the next generation of food systems storytellers. Check out heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. That's heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. And make sure you donate before March 31st. Thank you.
Restaurants employ over 15 million people nationwide, and 2/3 of all restaurants are independently owned and not part of big chains. Yet currently, these small businesses are not represented in government relief negotiations. ROAR is working to change that by fighting for relief opportunities for all restaurants. ROAR is advocating for an 8-point plan in New York State that will allow restaurants to reopen and rehire when the time comes. Dozens of industry leaders have signed on to the plan, like Nam Wa Tea Parlor, Field Trip, Momofuku, and many more of your favorites. You can join them at change.org by searching for ROAR, Relief Opportunities for All Restaurants.
Hello, this is Lisa Held, and you're listening to The Farm Report, a Heritage Radio Network show about the people, processes, and policies that shape how food is produced today. So first, a reminder that all of us at Heritage are recording our shows remotely, so if the audio quality is not quite as stellar as normal, I apologize. Nothing is quite like it was a month ago, so, we're all just kind of figuring this out as we go. So since about a week and a half ago, I think it was, when we aired our first Farm Report episode addressing the COVID-19 pandemic, things have unfortunately gotten worse, not better. And I hope you all are staying healthy and safe and sane and far away from each other. It's just a crazy time, and I have been feeling like the least I can do is to try to get you reliable information related to what's happening on farms and throughout the food system in the midst of it all. I do think that in a moment like this, that questions about how we feed ourselves, whether we're talking about in our local communities, cities, or the country overall, are more important than ever. So we're just going to keep asking those questions and kind of operate in this new realm for now. So today's guests are Noah Robbins and Eduardo Mestre, the founder and COO of vegetable company Ark Foods. And they are together because they are related and they're social distancing together. Guys, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
So it's funny, we're doing everything remotely. You might be, for the next few months, the only guests I have that are actually in the same place. So this is kind of a cool opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you're in Brooklyn, correct?
Yeah, we're in Brooklyn right now. I am living with my sister and brother-in-law and their 2 kids.
I am the brother-in-law, for clarity.
Yes, Mr. L, the brother-in-law. Yeah, it's been since we're family, we're just kind of used to this, and since we work together too, we were just like, let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone here and just make this our new office/living situation.
Right.
Like Ed was kind enough to bring me in.
Yeah.
Where is your office usually located?
So our office is in Gowanus in Brooklyn. And then we have a facility, a fresh cut facility where we chop up vegetables in New Jersey, as well as warehouses that we operate the farming products in Immokalee, Florida, as well as Hendersonville, North Carolina, and Vineland, New Jersey.
Okay. So I want to talk about how the company has been managing the impacts of COVID-19 on the business. But before we get into that, let's get some more background before we kind of dive into what's happening right now. Because I don't really know a lot about Ark Foods. It seems like a unique model for a company. Like I think you're growing vegetables, but you're also doing packaged foods. Noah, I know you're the founder. Do you want to just sort of talk about the origins and what the company actually looks like?
Yeah, sure. So to give you a little bit of background, my dad was actually a citrus farmer. So I grew up around ag. And when I graduated college, I saw that the average age of a farmer was 58. And I thought that, I didn't love permanent crops, or I wasn't as enamored with permanent crops. My dad wasn't as happy that I didn't want to go into citrus, but so I loved the idea, and I thought that there was a ton of opportunity with just applying these farmers market vegetables and making them as accessible as possible through commercial growing techniques. So what does that mean, right? Like you basically, the first product or vegetable, right, that I thought of applying this, technique to was the shishito pepper. So I started just growing on my own 3 acres, right? I didn't raise venture money at first, right? It was just a straight, as my dad would say, no, I think you should shut up and try to sell some peppers. So I bought, some dirt, started farming, and basically, the first claim to fame was, we basically built that market. So, we're the largest grower of shishitos in the United States and Mexico. So in the world right now. And, we, through that, because we're vertically integrated, we've developed techniques of building trends and building different things. So, we're in a sense a modern day farming company, and we view the vegetable as a North Star, and we always try to make these products through vegetables as accessible as humanly possible. That's always just our North Star, right? I want people all around the United States to have the same experience that they would at a high-end restaurant, right? I want them to be able to take that vegetable home and have an affordable, unique experience with it. So through that, what ended up happening was, this meal kit space started to boom. And because we grew all of these unique vegetables, they started to come to us saying, hey, we want you to grow this product for our box, right? And all of these consumers started to, this boom started to happen. And through that, I started thinking, well, how else can I feed people, different types of vegetables through other formats? So about a year and a half ago, I decided to open up our own fresh cut facility. And that's kind of how we launched the Veggie Bowls. So I was thinking, the meal kit space, I didn't really, think that was necessarily the model for us. But how do I, come up with a fresh, healthy, indulgent, plant-based version of a healthy experience, right? So we came up with, as a base, we use cauliflower and rutabaga. So rutabaga, again, we are all about the underdog vegetables. So rutabaga was really popular in the 70s and 80s, and got it microwaved really well. So what we do is, we bring it into our warehouse, we make it a veggie spaghetti out of the rutabaga, and we pair it with a sauce that we also make, because what we ended up seeing was there weren't a lot of clean ingredient sauce companies. So, the approach I always take is nothing is as hard as farming. What you'll laugh
right.
at the thing we're dealing with. So Rafa, my nephew, just walked in. So yeah, I mean, what I found was, since nothing is as hard as farming, and because we're vertically integrated, we ended up, making clean ingredient sauces that pair with all the products that we make. So, the Heat and Eat veggie line, the veggie bowl line, ended up happening through, starting at the farm. And that's how we always think about products. So, if you look at what our company will be like in 5 years, right? Like, or I hope, it would look like, let's say we have a really cool sweet potato variety, right? That is higher in antioxidants. It's, just a better experience, or a different experience. It doesn't need to be better. It's just a, one that everyone wants to experience, right? So I would be able to grow it on our farms and make it, as affordable as possible, right? So that it competes with a normal sweet potato or a normal potato. And then I would also, I'd service all the food service distributors, right? All the restaurants. So they're putting it on their menus. I would promote vegetable creativity through going to our retailers and saying, allowing customers to take that potato home, right? And they can use kind of however they would want to, and kind of bake it or chop it up. And then I would also have this really unique line where I would take the potato that we would grow and I'd bring it into my fresh cut facilities and make it like a crinkle cut French fry or a sweet potato noodle. Then from the scraps, I would, make a flour, or I would use that in a sauce that we make. So kind of all leading, and then eventually maybe chips or something. So it all leads to making sure that the vegetable is your North Star, and then getting people to eat it in as many different formats as possible.
Got it. I mean, it's a lot. It's like you're doing a lot of different things all in one company. And you're growing these vegetables. Are you growing all of the ingredients that are in those like veggie bowls, for instance, or do you also like source from other farms to make the actual packaged foods?
No, so the cauliflower and rutabaga we work with farmers on. So just like a contracted price, or a price that obviously allows them to do well and us to do well. But because we started from the farming side, we've developed great relationships with everyone just because of the family oriented business that I started this with. On the shishitos and the peppers, all the different unique peppers and the tomatoes that we're launching, those we grow ourselves.
Okay.
And the reason why we did that was, we thought, right now we could never compete with, and we can't grow as well as a lot of people that have been growing cauliflower for all their lives, right? It would be a whole new process. And I kind of thought that, the whole line itself was so complex that I should leave it to the farmers that do it best. Eventually, if there's something that I think we should grow, like the potato variety or something like that, we would venture into that. But you always know where your food comes from. That's obviously super important to us. The ingredients for the sauce, because we make it, that is all sourced from people that we know and that we like and we stand by.
Right. And so then the vegetables you grow, some of them are being used to create these veggie bowls and things you're selling in retail, but then you also just sell those vegetables wholesale. Is that right? Like the peppers?
Yeah. So the peppers, for instance, we sell to, retailers like Walmart and Whole Foods, right? And, as well as, wholesalers like Fresh Point. So it really varies. And because, the shishito started off as a food service item, it's allowed us to kind of grow other varieties and launch in many different ways, right? So we grow jalapenos, poblanos, purple bell peppers, serranos, shishitos, red fresnos, which is the key ingredient to sriracha. We grow a honey nut squash, which was a Dan Barber and Michael Masnick variety that we are one of the largest growers of as well. We've been growing that for a long time, trying to make that as accessible as possible. So yeah, I mean, it really varies as to what we grow. But yeah, it's been a unique mix.
Absolutely. Let me just say that Michael Mazurek was actually a guest on the Farm Report last year. So if anyone's interested in hearing more about the honey nut squash, you can go back and listen to that episode. So I think we should take a quick break. And then when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about how all of this, what you normally do, relates to what's happening at this moment in time. We'll be right back.
During this time, it's more important than ever to support our friends and neighbors in the restaurant industry. Restaurant Workers Community Foundation has set up a national COVID-19 crisis relief fund. The money they raise will provide direct relief to individual restaurant workers, support other nonprofits serving restaurant workers in crisis, and offer zero-interest loans for restaurants to get back up and running. Visit restaurantworkerscf.org to donate today. And if you need a little extra motivation, you can DM your $20 donation to RWCF's co-founder, John DeBerry, on Twitter, and he'll give you directions for making a signature quarantine cocktail. Donate now at restaurantworkerscf.org.
Okay, we're back. This is Lisa Held. You're listening to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network. I'm here with Noah and Ed from Ark Foods, and we're talking about how they grow specialty vegetables, sell them to wholesalers, create veggie bowls, all kinds of things. So we were kind of talking about life in its normal capacity before the break, and I want to get into a little how things have shifted since the coronavirus outbreak. Ed, I think you've been managing a lot of the sort of logistical issues. How did you first start to feel the impacts of COVID-19? Like, what was the first kind of alarm bell that went off that said, "Oh, we're going to have to adjust how we do things"?
Well,
Sure.
I think.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So, besides just the broader news out there, I think where we started first noticing it from a business standpoint was a lot of our wholesalers, in a matter of just a week, some of our most reliable customers who we've serviced year after year with large volumes of all our specialty vegetables that we grow, simply stopped ordering, and it was pretty sudden, pretty drastic. But yeah, a lot of these major companies that supply restaurants and food service distributors and all these guys, they just simply stopped ordering. And meanwhile, what we saw on the other side of the business was for our retail business, and that's all of the supermarket customers that Noah had mentioned before, folks like Walmart and Whole Foods and Costco. We immediately saw drastic order spikes on that side of the business, and
Mm-hmm.
So everything that you could see play out in the news with a lot of the the panic shopping and consumers just filling up filling up their grocery carts and just loading up to ride this thing out. We were able to immediately see that just in terms of what our own customers were starting to order, and so I think that was sort of the first sign, and it happened very fast.
Probably I would shrink that time and say like a day.
In like a couple, in a couple days. And that was sort of the wow, alarm bells that, hey, this thing is for real, and we need to start thinking about what to do and how to service our customers and how to continue getting vegetables to to consumers all over the country.
I think
Go ahead, Noah. Sorry.
I think what really hit me hard was I had this realization of when restaurants shut down, I started thinking obviously restaurants are insanely important, right? And I just started thinking to myself, okay, restaurants are going to shut down, therefore food service distributors shut down. Like how do I make sure this doesn't dramatically affect our family, right? And I mean family as in the Ark Foods family, of course, right? and I think obviously you see a lot of news about restaurants and hotels and all of that stuff, but what you don't think about necessarily is, it dramatically affects, the truck drivers that are hauling our product, our harvesting labor that we pay every day,
Right.
the insanely hard work that they do to make sure that everyone has, vegetables. And it seems like such a simple concept, but when you really think about it, it doesn't just affect a restaurant, right? I know that restaurants are obviously hurting and food service distributors as well, but it also hurts the backbone of farming. And it really
Right.
hurts, harvesting labor and everything like that.
Couldn't agree more. And we, being this vertically integrated modern day farming company, we have this unique vantage point where we kind of see the whole food chain from start to finish, right? And restaurants may close down, and we really see the ripple effects all the way down to the harvesters and the truck drivers, like Noah was saying. Even the greenhouses where we send our seeds to have the initial seedlings of our plants grown. Like, we've even seen some of them calling us up, being panicked that farmers are starting to pull orders of future plants for summer plantings, and you're really just starting to see some of the ripple effects of this thing, and it's just been crazy. It's pretty scary.
Right. Well, and I'd imagine there's sort of on the worker side, there's a tension because on one hand, you really need the workers to keep harvesting and getting this food to people, right? You want to take care of them and protect them because they're in danger of, getting sick too. But, a lot of workers want to work because they don't want to be, they want to come to work. They want to be making money. And there's just a lot. Like, how have you managed worker safety while also, keeping people at work? Like, what does that look like?
Sure. It's a great question. And it's a really, difficult balancing act, like you said, how to keep people coming to work, but also keep them safe. We've followed every protocol and taken every precaution we feel that we, humanly can, from everything from, ordering new supplies and gloves and, masks and sanitizers and cleaning schedules and new stipulations about employee schedules and keeping distances and mandatory pauses in, repacks and production for hand washings and wash downs and things like that, as well as just rotating workers as best we can, so everyone's not working at the same time. And we're, doing everything we can. And other things we're doing include, when employees walk in the door, doing a health check and a temperature scan, and overly communicating, about everyone taking every precaution we humanly can.
Incentivizing people to stay home,
yeah, of course,
right.
Covering sick leave. These are unprecedented times, and it's definitely a little bit of, what is, we ask ourselves every day, kind of, what else can we do, and what are we not doing? It's less of which of these safety precautions and things can we do, and more just we ask ourselves sort of what else can we do, and we, in all honesty, try and do everything we can in our power to keep everyone safe, and keep them working, not only because it's important for them and for their own well-being, but also because we know that we are making food. And I think one of the things that this crisis has really taught us is that there are some core important things that we all need day to day to survive. And I think we're reminded every day that food is at the top of that list, and it's we have
right.
a broader duty not only to our employees and ourselves, but also just to people who need to keep eating this food while they are hunkered away at home. And so it's a tough balancing act, and we try to do everything in our capacity to keep everyone safe, but also keep the vegetables coming, and it's tough.
Yeah, if we
right.
If we have truck space, every time we have any truck space available, we donate as much as humanly possible to places that are that are taking in vegetables, right? Not every, food pantry or necessarily has the availability of keeping vegetables refrigerated. So we have to find the ones that can take that in, right? City Harvest has been a great partner where, we've just been giving them as much as we humanly can. There's never enough, put it that way. You can do as much as you can and you still will not have done nearly enough. I think that's just always how we've been. And I think we're just doing everything we possibly can to help out, right? Like little things that you think about are just that are normal, have to change, like harvesting peppers, right? People are normally together when harvesting peppers, right? It seems like such a simple task, but social distancing, right? We want our harvesters to stay safe. So how do you pick peppers effectively and safely? Like planting your transplants from the seed house, making sure that planting schedules are maintaining momentum, or it's really just a ton of nuanced things that never stops. And in order to keep the wheels on the bus, you just have to work 24/7.
Right. And remotely too, which makes it difficult, right?
It's very strange. I can tell you that.
Yeah. What about the shift with your customers? Like in terms of shifting from, all these people you were selling vegetables to that are now shut down, like restaurants and institutions, but the demand for vegetables on the retail side has gone up. How difficult is it to kind of just switch where you're sending things? Has that been possible to do, or is it not that simple to just say like, oh, we'll just move this food to a different outlet,
Yeah, it's a great question. Nothing is ever as simple as sort of, snapping your fingers and suddenly truckloads and truckloads of vegetables wind up in a new place, right?
Right.
A lot of complexity. One example I can give you is we've been a long time vendor of Costco, and they've brought in our shishito peppers, into a lot of their locations in the Northeast early on. And then, as I'm sure you've seen in the news, there have just been these, runs on Costco. And so orders from them, we've seen surge, 4 to 5x what they usually are on a weekly basis. And, so in order to fulfill that, that's required everything from, bringing in new packaging to, bringing in additional labor to new trucks. It literally takes just sort of all the wheels of the food chain turning much faster in order to make that happen. And thankfully we have a great team and a nimble team who's really been sort of working overtime to make that happen and make sure that consumers can walk into a Costco and stock up on peppers and fill their pantries at home. So lots and lots of examples like that, and we've had to, I think on our toes every single day. And we kind of, the joke internally recently has been that, in a sense, almost every single day we need to reinvent the way that we do business. And it takes definitely a lot of mental juggling, a lot of work, a lot of logistics to piece it all together. But the landscape is just changing so fast that we really have to be kind of on our toes to think through how to, shift that production around and service new customers.
I could also add that, it's not as though we've never had these partnerships before with all of our customers. So, we've always just done, we've always worked hard at making sure that our relationships were strong, right? If they needed something, we were always there. If I needed something, they were trying to help. It's, because farming is just so difficult. Like we've had a hurricane, right? Irma happened. We had to deal with that. A freeze happened. We had to deal with that. So farming is just, it creates a community of just shit happens. Excuse my language.
Right. No, I love it.
This is just another thing. And it's a horrible thing, but we're so used to working together in the fresh produce industry in general that it really creates a sense of community. Now, I can say we're truly lucky in the sense that we're diversified, right? We have so many different things going on that if one falls, we have a lot of other pillars to keep the company up. I can't say that for everyone, and it's been really tough to see. I mean, there are farms that strictly deal with food service. There are farmers markets, right? There are tons of farmers that are fantastic that need all the help they can get. And obviously we're trying to do everything we humanly can to help everyone out. And everyone has been, right? It's a really close knit community. There are not that many, farmers in general in the United States. And we need more of them. And I think, everyone's talking, everyone's trying to help out each other, and you really need to get together and talk. So I can say that it's really been, a fight. Every day has been a fight, but because we've had, bacteria all over the plants and our yields went from a pound per plant to nothing, or, Irma happened and wiped off 75% of our crop. We've had a freeze disaster. I grew up dealing with a citrus, dealing with my dad saying, hey, guess what? We just lost all of our crop to a freeze. We had 3 million boxes that are no longer in existence. It just, because I'm so used to the uphill battle that is farming at its crux, this is just another fight.
Right. Yeah. I mean, farming is probably the most unpredictable business you can possibly be in, right?
Yeah. It feeds people, right? At the end of the day, like the first plant-based, movement was, you can't be more plant-based than vegetables, right? It's really the crux of so many things, in my opinion, and it's why it fascinates me.
Right. Well, and so in some ways, this is, sort of just another challenge to get through. And then in other ways, it's really unprecedented. How do you think that this scenario you're in right now is going to affect the way you farm or run the company over the long term? Like, do you think things will just go back to the normal course of business when this is all over, or will you be thinking differently about the future?
One thing that's kind of strange for us is in a matter of weeks, actually 1 week, I think next week we'll be launching. Ed has spearheaded like an e-commerce site. Yeah. So you could eventually you'll be able to buy the vegetables straight from our website, from our farm, right? You'll be able to buy the veggie bowls. So that's not something I was ever necessarily interested in really doing. But we've gotten a lot of emails and just kind of felt like, okay, well, I guess we're launching an e-commerce site. And if you want to talk a little bit about that.
It's funny because we have all these, long-term plans of what we want to do with the business, and e-commerce was on there, sort of a 1 to 2 year type of initiative. And, we just kind of sat there last week and said, well, can we do this in 1 to 2 weeks? And so we're, basically saying, hey, can we launch fresh produce e-commerce business in about in the span of about 10 days. And so we're about halfway through that and kind of and actually incredibly on track to do that. And I think just with this crisis has, the one positive that has come out of it is that it's really, helped us to just accelerate things that otherwise would have been a little bit slower, taken longer, and really helped us think about what matters and kind of reinvent things like we were saying before on a day-to-day basis. We don't really know exactly what the future holds or how long this thing will last. Obviously, we can't imagine that as soon as people come out of their homes that they're all going to bull rush to the nearest stadium or concert or large restaurant. I think, behavior and the way we eat will have fundamentally changed on some level, or if not, it will take some time to get back to what normal life, quote unquote, used to look like. But I think we're just, we're not We're not drastically cutting back production or doing anything wildly different from what we have in the past. We make vegetables, and whatever the future may hold, people will still need to eat vegetables in some form or another. Where and how they do that will change and will evolve, given this crisis. But I could see a world where in the future, where we sell our vegetables and how we package them and things like that is going to change. But despite all the crazy news out there, we are optimistic that one day we'll wake up out of this thing and people will still need to eat fresh vegetables. It's the most fundamental human thing. And, because of that, we're not drastically changing what we do, just a little bit how we do it.
Yeah. And I think to add to that, I mean, to go back to what I said, because we view the vegetable as the North Star, and we're really stressing on, accessibility of vegetables and different types. And we stay true to that mantra. And I think because of that, no matter what the economy does or what people do, they'll always want unique experiences, I believe, right? It's just a matter of where they go for them.
Right. Just have to keep kind of adjusting as we go, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Noah, Ed, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all of your experiences. I know things are a little crazy right now, so I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, and great chatting.
Thank you all so much for listening to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network. If you enjoyed the conversation, please subscribe to the podcast, rate it, and share it. I'll see you next week. Take care.
The Farm Report is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. For our freshest content, subscribe to our newsletter. Just enter your email at the bottom of our website, heritageradionetwork.org. Connect with us on Instagram and Twitter at heritage_radio. You can also find us at facebook.com/Heritage Radio Network. Heritage Radio Network is a nonprofit organization driving conversations to make the world a better, fairer, more delicious place. And we couldn't do it without support from listeners like you. Want to be a part of the food world's most innovative community? Subscribe to the shows you like, tell your friends, and please join the HRN family by becoming a member. Just click on the heart at the top right of our homepage. Thanks for listening.